we understand in the aftermath of the crash, that on 8 out of 10 occasions, it did not have to happen. It happened because of human involvement in some way, making a mistake, doing something they're not supposed to do, or doing something they didn't know they should not do. And that's the background to the safety management system. We start to understand, in actual fact, that some of the things that we should not be doing, we know about in advance. What we need to do is to act on these things. We need to act on these bad behaviours, we need to act on these procedures, the processes that are not correct. And the safety management system is designed to be a forward-looking process that identifies risk and exposure. In addition, a reactive process that goes deep into understanding why something happened that caused us harm and upset. As I say, it's been coming since 20 years, 25 years. And it predominantly pays attention to the fact that the organisation has a significant responsibility for the management of safety. Not the individual, the organisation. So when people make mistakes, it's okay to say it was a maintenance error or it was pilot error. But the reality is the maintenance person, or in fact the pilot, did not get out of bed this morning deciding today is the day I screw up. They didn't. They made a mistake for a whole range of reasons. And sometimes the reason they made a mistake is because they didn't have the necessary knowledge, experience, competency to do the job that they were doing. And that's where the organisation comes in, because the organisation should manage its staff, should ensure that the staff have got the competency to do what needs to be done. In common with other management systems, the safety management system provides for goal setting, planning and measuring performance. It concerns itself with the organisational safety rather than the conventional health and safety at work concerns. So, when we come to understand what a safety management system is all about, we can ask some questions. For example, do I understand what a proactive SMS is? A proactive SMS means that I go out and look for problems. I use different ways of capturing information, capturing data, processing the data, analysing the data, looking for systemic issues and acting on it. This is being proactive. And in actual fact, when we talk about a proactive SMS, we're talking about a system which is building on an existing system which is a reactive SMS. Means when something happens, we react to it. Do I know where my company's SMS procedures are located? We should have SMS process, SMS procedures. They should be documented. They should be trained throughout the organisation. Do I know how to report a hazard? And the first question is, what is a hazard? Michael, what would you say is a hazard?
Hazard is kind of unsafe act.
Say again?
Unsafe act.
Okay, hazard is an unsafe act. What would you say is a hazard, Peter?
It's something that endangers the safety of flight.
Almost. A hazard has the potential. It doesn't necessarily mean it is going to. For example, I have a crosswind. I'm coming into land and there's a crosswind. The crosswind is a hazard. If I've been trained and I can fly the aeroplane correctly and I put on the correct amount of turn, the correct amount of bank, and I fly, it's okay. It's very okay. And therefore, a hazard itself isn't necessarily a problem. Aviation fuel is a hazard, kerosene. If kerosene gets hot, it's inflammable, highly inflammable. In actual fact, if I just have 500 grams of kerosene and I put it in a container and I heat that container and I put a match to it, the whole lot will go up. If it's cold, I can put a match in it and the match will go out. So the hazard is something that can potentially cause us a problem. So in the workplace, in the operation, there are hazards all around us. Hazards, every time we do something, there's a hazard. Every time we are evolving ourselves. The hazard itself is not necessarily a problem. The problem is how we manage the hazard. So when we talk about reporting a hazard, we're actually not talking about reporting everything that is a hazard. We're talking about reporting a hazard that's not being managed correctly, would be a better way of saying it. So, do I know who is my safety representative? We have, for example, in the organisation, key individuals with a specific and direct responsibility for safety. We've got to know who these guys are, and they have to have the necessary training, and so on and so on.